I think I'm grateful for...
If there was one thing that you could change about music industry, what would that be?
Release a song now.
Always respect the sound guy.
Don't drop the microphone. We can now do our own headline shows.
Yeah, you've got to be willing to sacrifice.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
commitment to the cause.
Promoters!
Do a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
People just being fake to people to get something out of them.
And in music, connections is a big thing, but...
We've never had an argument.
If you knew that you wouldn't fail, how big would you dream?
I want to be heard, but not seen.
you're searching for the pleasure and you're willing to get through the pain.
We let our lives be driven by pain and pleasure.
Be depressed.
Yeah, you need a big break.
Live it, breathe it, work hard, enjoy it.
Bronnie, what would you think if you call one of your mutual friends and you tell them that you want to drop pursuing a musical career?
What's up?
Hey, hey, Queen.
Hey, Queen. Hey, King. What's up?
Wait, did I just wake you up?
Not really. Olivia just woke me up because she wanted food.
Oh, very
That was
cute.
Like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm just ringing you because I'm...
Today.
Oh, it's her birthday?
Yeah, her and Ben are turning 2.
Oh, happy second birthday.
What's up?
So, I'm in a bit of a mare.
Oh, okay. What's up?
So like, we've just come off tour, and I just don't think it's for me, but like, I don't know what to do. Like, music now, and I'm like, I think it's just too stressful, and I'm like, do I just keep it as like a hobby and like go into like, I don't know, like designing bands like, I don't know what to do.
Is this a joke?
No?
Oh my gosh. Okay, just because you had a tone in your voice that maybe you were kidding. Wait, okay. I mean, the possibilities of what you could do are endless. Because I feel like you have built up so many connections in the industry that, like, have you been thinking about this for a while?
It's kind of like when I was on tour, I was just like, it's all just too stressful, and then like coming off stage and all that, and then like just like trying to like social media, and then it's like, oh god, I gotta write a song, and it's just like all like too much now, and I'm just like, oh, would I just prefer doing like, I don't know, going on tour, like I used to like photography, or like I don't know, like just photograph bands instead and be like the behind the scenes kind of, if music's like the end goal for me anymore.
You know what I would do?
Mm-hmm.
Is I would, like, because you obviously have a lot of commitments like lined up throughout the album release cycle and whatnot.
I know, I'm just thinking of like cancelling the tour.
Yeah. Oh.
Or is that a
really?
mistake?
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily a mistake. Like, if you're regretting it, I don't want to tell you that it's a mistake, but like, I was also thinking, like, if you have that and you're just getting a bit of cold feet and you're thinking, like, I don't know, is it too much? If you do continue with the album release cycle, then maybe see it through, and then throughout the next couple months, just keep your ear out and just be like, all right, so now, because this is kind of what I did. Like, I think for the last year of my band, I was like, I do not want to be an artist anymore, or I just like didn't want to be in the band anymore. Like, I loved them. I loved them so much. Like, I kind of just wanted to be behind the scenes. Wow, this is actually a big parallel. But what I did is I was just like, kind of went through the motions of the last like year and a half of it, with just kind of like the knowledge that I could do other things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not gonna last forever, because I feel like when you are doing it and you're going through it and you're like, this is gonna last forever, I'm always going to be doing this, I'm never not going to be posting on social media or touring or writing or flying from Disneyland to Don Broco to back to Disneyland. Like, when you're thinking in that mindset, you think, oh my god, I'm never going to get a day off. that is so fucking stressful.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, like, you'd be a kick-ass manager, honestly.
Or do you reckon I just keep... Do you reckon I'm just, like, overthinking?
You could, well, very much could be overthinking, but, like, this very much could be, like, a science. I think, like, maybe at least give it... I mean, we're, like, in October now, and the album comes out in April, right? April?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say at least give it until the album, because then you can use these months to, like, now that you're not thinking, okay, this has to be forever, I have to do this forever, I have to always be on tour, always do social media, or always whatever. Use this time to be like, I don't have to do this forever. I have to see through this commitment, but, like, I don't have to do it forever, and, like, keep your ear out, like, talk to people more. Like, you don't have to tell people, oh, guys, I'm quitting music. But you can, like, talk to the photographers that are coming to your shows and be like, yeah, like, how do you get into this? Like, I want to do a little bit more photography. You can talk to some managers that you're into and just be like, yeah, you know, like, how do you get into this? Like, blah, blah, and just kind of keep your ear out and...
Yeah, I think it's hot because, like, after I came off the tour, this person said that I was, like, the worst singer in the world. And, like, it was Chris.
What?
I'm so sorry.
He's gonna be pissed.
AJ!
You're on a podcast, my guy.
You're an angel. You said the nicest thing.
He was so trying to convince you logically.
Yeah, right, so we're on a podcast. And then the dare was you have to ring a mutual friend.
I was like, this came out of nowhere.
I was like, you was like, you have to ring a mutual friend and say that you don't want to be a musician anymore.
That's so funny. It's so random because I was like, that's so weird because Bronnie is like one of the only people I know that like would just not have that. Literally through most of it, I was just like, is this happening?
Oh.
Hi fans. Hi listeners.
Well, have a great
Thank you.
a cat's second birthday celebration.
Happy birthday to the cats.
If you buy a lottery ticket as a band, okay, as the Bronnie team, and you win £1 million, what would you do with it?
We've spoken about this.
Yeah,
So,
1 million.
band house.
Yeah.
For $1 million?
Yeah.
You reckon?
Round the house, yeah.
£1 million?
Yeah.
£1 million is
Not down that he's from Brighton, so it's like...
if I'd say band house. I'd say like £1 million in a studio. Right?
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
split
you'd
the
have a
studio
studio in the house.
Is
Oh, right,
that-
fair enough, yeah.
300k on the studio, 700k on the house.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Like it. Yeah. I think that'd be the
Yeah, I think that would pretty much all go into that. We've always said it's like if we could just, and it's obviously it's hard to do in it, but if we could be together in the same place all the time, oh my god, the
And
productivity.
we
would
pretty
just
much are, but it's...
It would
Like-
be the waking up and going, I had a dream about a song.
Yeah.
And then you go, right, everyone just sit down and just like listen. And then everyone hears it and then goes, right. And then we'll go off and do our thing and like we're working it together or working it separately. And
Oh,
then,
I'd
like, coming
love
back,
for us
it
all
would
to
be-
live together.
Yeah.
It would be a monster. It would be so good and so efficient. And I think the thing is because we toured so much, we'd definitely be able to do it because like we're all like we know each other's tendencies, like we're like tidy people.
We've
like,
never had an argument, and we've known each other. I've known you for nearly 9 years, 8-9 years,
Yeah.
5-6.
5-6.
Yeah.
There's like it's insane,
Yeah.
and we're around each other all the time.
We have like not arguments, but we'll disagree on a set list or whatever, and someone
Oh,
goes,
yeah,
I think this
so
shot's
not-
When it's a
Disagreement,
musical
of
thing,
course.
when it's a musical thing, you're gonna disagree because it's
Yeah.
subjective. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
if you didn't disagree,
Yeah.
you wouldn't care.
But there's never been a strop. No one's ever.
No.
no one's
Just throwing the toys out the pram.
No,
or anything
no.
like that.
Whereas like there's been tours where like we've been on where like some bandmates have not been like getting on, and we're like,
they're like, oh, this is uncomfortable.
we're sat there like, hee with the dream team.
So yeah, bandhouse.
Bandhouse would be
Bandhouse.
nice. With studio.
Invest in some stocks and shares.
I get us a van with like sleeper cabins.
Oh, nice van.
Oh
Nice van.
yes.
Yeah, nice van. Because
A cat.
I'm the driver, so.
Okay.
We get a cat.
Yeah, we get
For £1 million, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
What kind of cat are we talking about
A
anyway?
black cat.
Okay.
£1 million
I have
cat.
5 black cats, so I'm just obsessed.
So she needs another one.
All about the even numbers.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you look after your mental and physical health?
Here again.
Pete's
So
got the
I-
answer for this.
Yeah, no, I found meditation to be like massively helpful for me. And so just before lockdown, I got diagnosed with, or I got an anxiety diagnosis and got put on medication for that, which I found helped. And everyone's experience with medication is going to be different. For me, while it helped calm my anxiety a bit, it made like, it felt like almost like I was making decisions while drunk. While I wasn't, I was completely sober at the time, but it's like on the medication, it felt like your inhibitions are lowered. For me, that's what it felt. So I found myself saying stuff and then being like, why have I said that? And the stuff that you'd usually catch yourself. So I found for me, the medication I was on for whatever reason wasn't right. And then obviously went into lockdown. So it became a bit of a struggle to sort of like, get out and get the medication stuff going. For like prescriptions became a bit challenging at times. So I ended up going off them, and then I found like got into meditation, just using one of the apps that you can get. And I did like, and now I'm a bit more wishy-washy with it, and I still do it every now and then, if I find myself feeling anxious. But honestly, the skills that I learned from doing a good few months to a year's worth of like daily meditation really helped me just to sort of understand, when I would start getting anxious, it wasn't this sort of foreign feeling that I didn't understand. All of a sudden I knew what was going on and was able to sort of either just be like, right, just go take 5 minutes, chill out for a second, calm down, see how you're feeling, and knowing how to deal with it. So that was massive for me. And then hand in hand with it, I'd like to go and find somewhere nice to meditate. So I'd go out on a walk, find somewhere, and that helped with the physical stuff as well, just getting out and being mobile and getting active. So that for me are the two key ones. Instantly becomes much harder when you're on tour.
It was so cute though. So we were in Germany, woke up, Pete sat in the garden, like meditating.
Yeah, and that's it. It's something that like it's a tool that I can sort of pick up if I'm having a day where I feel a bit more stressed or a bit more anxious or whatever it might be. Something I know that I can just rely on and go, and I know that it'll help me clear my head a bit, or at least come to an understanding of sort of how my head's feeling that day. So that for me is the main mental health one, and giving yourself a break. When we're chatting about like there's times where I know that I'm not going to feel great coming off the back of a tour or something. I know there's going to be a period where it feels a bit rubbish, and just sort of giving yourself the break to be like, all right, well, don't try and do too much. Just do what your body feels capable of, do what your mind feels capable of, but don't try and overextend to make yourself feel better. Sometimes you need to just like have a couple of days to feel a bit rubbish, feel a bit sorry for yourself, and then when you start feeling like you're up for doing something, go and do it. Physical health is like, obviously it's a bit more tough. Bron and I live near each other, so we go to the same gym when we go to the gym. And we'll often find it's everyone's the same when it comes to going to the gym or whatever. It's like when you're into it, you're into it.
I've been twice this week, Pete, again.
Exactly. So and it's fully like I don't know now knowing you'll be at it all the time. But it's when after when you've had a couple of weeks off, it's then getting back into it becomes a struggle, because it's when you're out on tour.
You cannot be healthy on tour.
I'm gonna run.
Don't think I've ever. Every tour I'm like, it's so healthy.
But I think it's come to, like, for me, the balance has ended up being that, like, on tour I'm just a bit unhealthy, and therefore I have to be extra conscious when I'm not on tour, and that's how I try and balance it, because there's the affordability of, like, I'm a vegetarian, so when I'm out on tour it can be tough sometimes to get like cost-effective vegetarian food that you can sort of take with you and eat. So you end up with a lot of chips from McDonald's, you end up with a lot of veggie burgers, and you end up with, and all of a sudden it's like after a couple of weeks of that you start feeling it. So then as soon as I'm home, I'm like back on, like, as healthy as I can eat, as taking, get as much exercise as I can.
Yeah, because we're here like, oh yeah, we're gonna meal prep. And it's like, you can't meal prep on tour.
You've got no fridge in the van. You can't take food around with you for 2 weeks. It's just you end up in a McDonald's, you end up in
overpriced
at best,
sandwiches.
You end up in an Aldi or something, and and you're trying.
Oh, if we see an Aldi or a Sainsbury's, we're like, the promised land. Can have an apple.
Yeah, literally. But I think that's it. I think while you're there, just force yourself to eat the fruit. I do it like 2-3 days in. I'm like, if there's fruit in the dressing room, I'm just like, right, that's all I want to eat. Just get that. Start getting smoothies and stuff. Because the inevitable thing is, when you're out on tour, like I say, you'll eat rubbish, you'll drink worse, you'll sleep less. Everything is just a bit harder, so your body often will start to struggle. So we've never done, and I would love to do it at some point, we've never done like a 6-month, like world tour type thing. I don't know how you'd manage on something like that.
I think when we were in Europe, there was catering.
That is true, you're well looked after.
Like, listening to what you're saying and like taking a step back from how I know you, I think the key is like learn your body and like get ahead of yourself a bit. So like you know, like I'm gonna feel like this, I'm gonna feel like this, so I'm gonna combat it before I get to the point where I'm feeling like lethargic every day and I don't want to be here. Like prepare yourself for it. And mentally as well. Like if you know mentally, like we're talking about the physical health, but going back to the mental health stuff, like prepare yourself mentally of like how you're gonna feel, and like even before you start the tour, be like, when I'm sat on my bed, when I come back from tour, I know I'm going to feel a certain way. Like prepare yourself for like knowing how you're going to feel post tour. I think is really important as well.
And I think when you start thinking like that, it becomes much easier to sort of enjoy the moment, because because if you can just sort of put it down and go like, well, I'm going to feel how I feel in 2 weeks. We'll get to that when it comes round. But for now, I've got this amazing 2 weeks in front of me. I'm just going to do what I want to do, enjoy it for now, and then I'll deal with that when we get there. And so long as you know, it's like, well, I know it's going to come, I know it's going to happen, and I'm just going to try and make it as easy as I can for myself. But for the next couple of weeks on this tour, just going to enjoy myself and not worry about that at all. I think if you start sort of dreading it, what's coming round, then you'll never enjoy what you're doing in the present moment. When you're actually on the tour, it becomes harder to enjoy it.
Yeah, just plan ahead. Like when we come off tour, we always go, right, this day we're going to songwrite, this day we're going to rehearse, do some golf.
And I think that
it's our new obsession.
Obviously, everyone's mental health is different, but for us, it is like I find it's having something to do is what will drag us out.
It works for all of us.
Yeah, exactly. And again, there'll be people who are like, no, for me, for my mental health, I just need a break. I just need a week off after the end of a tour. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to speak to anyone. And that's fine. That's it. But I know for us, it's like we're like 2 days off is too much. Where we just need to be back doing something again. Yeah, literally. But yeah, I think that for me, for our mental health, is just keeping busy. It's just keeping busy as much as you can, but allowing yourself to break when you need it.
Okay, tell me, what would you do if music did not exist?
Be depressed.
So imagine no music exists in the world. What would you do? What kind of job would you pick?
I think I would still be creative. Like I've always loved, I mean, like as a teenager, I wanted to go into photography and like videography. So I'd be really into that. I design all my own merch. So maybe like a clothing kind of like designer or something like that. I mean, I also have like my own jewelry line and my own like eyelash lines, probably something in the makeup industry as well. Just think creative.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because I can't do maths.
Yeah.
So I'll stick to singing.
I don't know. I went into like sound engineering, so maybe I'd go down because I like a how things work type thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'd go into an engineering thing. Now I don't know. I remember like my first dream job ever. I was obsessed with CSI, and I really wanted to go into like forensic stuff when I was a kid. Maybe if music didn't exist, I would have followed that down a bit more, but. I don't know. I like to think I would have stayed in something engineering-y. I like the how things work thing. I like
Nice.
But I don't know if I've got the brains for it.
I would love to, and still would love to, be either a sports nutritionist or member of a ground staff at a football club.
And if in this universe, we're never meeting, by the way.
Yeah. I can see your makeup on the pitch.
Like the idea of like cutting the grass for a professional football pitch.
I like it.
And being like so like the detail and like the science behind it and all that. I love all that. And then the science behind the human body. I've always loved biology. I think it's fascinating.
What was your favourite science? Mine was biology.
Biology by country mile.
Physics, I think.
Oh, nerd.
Yeah, I know,
yeah. I like blowing things up as well.
Yeah, a bit of physics, a bit of chemistry, anything you can set on fire, make a reaction.
If you knew that you wouldn't fail, how big would you dream?
as big as I'm dreaming right now.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Where is that?
Just like
Wait,
I'd
where is
love. I mean, obviously, I think like every musician's dream is to like headline stadiums and have that like household name.
Yeah.
I just want to be Dave Grohl.
It's interesting. Like I want to. It might be the same as you. It's definitely not the same as you because obviously it can't be. But like I want to be heard but not seen.
Fair.
Like I want to play drums in stadiums across the world and everyone go, the drummer was sick. Not, oh, Chris on the drums was so good. I love Chris. He's such a good drummer. Like, oh yeah, the drummer was sick. Because I remember like one of my earliest gigs was I went to go and see, my sister dragged me to go see Westlife at the O2. I watched the drummer all night. No idea who he is. But I was like, oh, that's just locked in my mind. I was like 10. And I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. I want to do what he's doing. Don't know who he is. And I don't care because he was so like, that it just completely, I want to inspire people, but I don't care that people know who I am. I don't want people to know him.
That's a very noble take.
Yeah.
I want to be as famous as possible. No, I don't know. I think probably, largely the same. I've always said, like, it's not exactly dreaming big. Well, it is dreaming big, but it's not dreaming hugely big. But I always said I just want to be, if I can sustain a living, not a glamorous living, but if I can sustain a living doing music for as long as physically possible, until the ears stop working or the legs don't work or whatever, until that point, like I just want to be able to do music and make a living off it. That's all. Like that's the dream for me. If we're talking like there's no limit and it's definitely going to work, then I'd love to be doing stadiums, or I'd love to do a big, we chatted about before, like big years long world tour where you're seeing everywhere on the planet and playing to a load of people every night. I think that would be amazing. I'd love to do that. I do love like, I'm not much of a traveling person. Like I don't have like the wanderlust that people often have, but I do love going and seeing these places while we're touring. Is like having a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there to just go and experience a part of the world that you may not ever see again. I think it's like that's one of the best parts of the job for me.
I just had this weird brainwave, like, so we're musicians and the standard person wants money to spend to go to travel, like go on holiday, to see concerts.
That's what
and
you're
all
saving
that,
it for, yeah.
and probably to have a big house. But like us, okay, maybe no big house, but we're constantly traveling.
Yeah.
We're playing gigs, and because we're musicians and just mates with everyone, like I can't remember last time we paid to go to a gig.
Yeah.
So it's like we're living like what most people save up to spend their money on.
Yeah.
And it's like just from having our job.
Yeah, so it's
like how lucky are we?
Exactly. It's such a blessed position to be in.
Everything that we're doing now, but bigger. Stadiums.
Yeah.
I want to inspire the next gen.
Who's Jen?
Generation.
She's coming. Okay. Tell me 5 things. Actually, tell me 6 things, 2 each,
Okay, I like it.
that you're grateful for.
My number 1 is the fans, because if it wasn't for the fans, I'd just be a bedroom singer.
And my ears sounds stupid,
No,
but I'm so
yeah.
grateful for the ability. Like some people
can't
grow up
hear,
never hearing, and you
sure.
just think like, oh my god, like it's like a little off topic, but some people always say, oh, would you rather be deaf or blind? And I think I'm one of the only people that will say blind.
Yeah.
Why would you rather be blind?
Well, yeah, it's sat in a room full of musicians. It's
Yeah.
I chat to my mates about it, and they're like, "What? You wouldn't want to see?" And I'm like, "Don't care." Like, if I could, the idea of not hearing music again, just like
I might change my answer after this.
but like, yeah, I just think that's bizarre. Like, so my ears.
I think grateful to like all the people in the industry and other bands who've given us a shot, like taking us out on a tour with them, or whatever. It's like, I don't think it's one of them. It's tough, and you sometimes don't think you're doing much when you're like, if you're a big band and you give someone like a shot at it. And like, so when we did the Don Broco one the other week, that probably to them is like, we need a support for this gig. We'll get someone to us. It's like the biggest gig of our career. So it's like one of them, like anyone who can do something like that to just help someone out below them. I'm massively grateful for anyone who's done that for us. That'd be my number 1 pick.
I think I'm grateful for, like, so I did musical theatre growing up, and so we did like acting, singing, dancing, and my singing teacher, Sandy Bowen, we were like auditioning for a musical, and she was like, just sing. And I was like, no, I don't want to sing. I'm really bad. And every time I think of singing, I'd tear up and go bright red. And she was like, just sing, Bronwyn. So I like sang and did an audition. ended up loving it, ended up getting the main role. And if I hadn't have done that, I would not be a singer. I would have just done a different career, because that kind of made me... The first time I sang in front of anyone really was in front of like 500 people. So if it wasn't her literally making me sing during an audition, I think that was like one of the things that started it all, like that butterfly effect. Yeah. So yeah, thankful for Sandy Bowen of Oxford.
Like the other one for me, and kind of similar, I guess, but like my family and these guys, anyone who's been supportive and like motive, like on a personal level, not just of the project, but of me on a way where it's like, you know, sometimes particularly early days when it's like, you know, you're legging it off to do stuff and you've got responsibilities at home or whatever, having people who will help pick up those responsibilities and look after you. I'm fortunate to have had a family who have enabled me as much as possible by picking up the rubbish that I'm leaving behind to go and do this and to go and live this like mad dream that we get to do. So yeah, super grateful for family and for friends, these guys as well, for being like anyone who's pushed you along the way and then helped maybe pick up behind you as you're leaving a bit of a trail of mess behind you as you're taking off. So yeah, massively.
Yeah, my third would have been these guys in my family.
Oh yeah, same. No, I'm trying to say, I'm grateful for the people that came before us that paved the way. Like
you're so wise.
No, but like I look at I go back and I think of like whether it's like your music teacher, like how they got into it. So like I think about my music teacher quite a lot, and I'm like, I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't got a Scooby, but I know that if he knew what I was doing now, he'd be like over the moon about it. And like the reason why I got into this was like the drummers that I aspired to be like, who I'm nothing like now, because the Buddy Richards of the world and the Chad Smiths and the Taylor Hawkins and all those guys, I just like, if it wasn't for those people, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So like you have to be grateful for them. And like that again, hours ago we spoke about like inspiring people, and like that's what like people will at some point, and some people do now, which is crazy, look up to me and go, oh, I want to be like him. And it's like, that's a lot. It's a lot to bear. But like when you think about the reason why you do it is because you were inspired by someone else. Being able to inspire someone else, so it's the best. So good. It's the reason why you do it.
I totally agree. There are a lot of things that happened in the past that made me the person who I am today. You know, a lot of micro things that happen, a lot of like obviously major things that happen. I just want to point out to something because you brought it up. A lot of the times we let our lives to be driven by pain and pleasure. Sometimes we just react subconsciously to what happens rather than just respond to it, you know. And I think, I don't know what your thoughts on it as well. And I think that might lead us, maybe that push from your teacher, if it didn't happen, maybe you wouldn't be here today, you know.
That's the scary thing.
But if you would have been led by pain and pleasure, you wouldn't be doing it, you know, right? But what do you think about this? Because I think that's something that's going on in the society nowadays. A lot of times we say, I don't feel like it. That doesn't make me feel good, but does it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about act and react. And like, I think all of us as people in music are very act. Like we do it because we love it. If you're someone who will just react, if someone like has to tell you to do something, so you have to do that, or like you don't seek out the inspiration, keep going back to it, but you don't seek that, then like it's probably not for you if you have to constantly be reacting to, unless obviously that's your job and like you're a PA or something like that, like but like acting upon like your skills and not reacting to what someone asks you to do. Like, I think that's really important.
I think it's one of the things, like, we can, like, with the pain pleasure thing, we can drive ourselves nuts. Like, sometimes nothing will be more painful than doing music, because, like, I've had it, like, where, like, ex-partners have been like, do you even enjoy this? Because it seems like you're just getting really wound up. Like, but it's, like, sometimes, like, the process is, like, it's that tough, and, you know, sometimes it's, like, you're working on a song and you just can't get it right, or you, like, for me, it was, like, a lot of times mixing for me, and it's, like, just can't get it to sound quite how I want it, and it's driving you insane, but it's, like, as much as you hate it, it's like you'll still be sat in front of that laptop 6 hours later, still hating yourself just as much, but still...
It's like an addiction.
But it is. And I think that's where you do, and then it's obviously to counteract that is the pleasure, and there's times where it's so you'll sit down and you'll write a song and it'll just be easy as anything, it'll come out, and sometimes the pleasure comes from cracking whatever was causing the pain initially.
Well, we had that the other day. We were like, oh, let's write this song. 4 hours later, all done. And I was texting you the other day like, Pete, I need help. I cannot get this song on my head. I keep listening to it. And, but then there's days where you go and write a song and you're literally driving yourself insane because you can't think of any lyrics, any riffs, anything. But you're constantly trying to up yourself, aren't you, in the industry, like your musician.
And I think that's it. And I think it comes back to what you said. I think if you weren't, if you were someone who wasn't, I'm all in on this, someone who was, you might let that pain be the barrier that stops you from going. Like you get there and you get frustrated and you go, I'm not doing this anymore. I was shutting the laptop down. I think for people who have got the mindset, they'll get to that pain level and be like, I'm going to get this right. Whatever's annoying me about it, I'm going to get it there. And whether that takes another 2 days of just solidly sitting in front of this laptop and not seeing my friends or whatever it is, I'm going to get there and do it. And I'm not saying that's necessarily the best, I'm not saying that's the right mindset or the best mindset, but I think that is the mindset that people who are like completely dedicated will tend to take, I think, because it just becomes, it's a necessity. Like I couldn't, even if I took a break from it, I know that I'll sit there and think about it for 2 hours until I just go, I'll just get it back open and start working on it again. Because you just like, when it is something that you love, when it is that like you're searching for the pleasure and you're willing to get through the pain to get there sometimes, I think. But everyone's different, and I don't, it feels wrong to sit here and be like, do something that winds you up is the right advice, but sometimes it is.
But that's true though, I think, like in my perspective, if it's aligned with your vision, doesn't matter if it's going to be with pain or with pleasure, you have to do it. You know what I mean? So as long as it's aligned with that, like I always make the example of being a bodybuilder. Being in that industry, literally every single day, especially as a professional, you have to go through pain.
It's physical. It's like
it's
the worst
physical pain. You're gonna feel it in every cell of your body, and that's the only way to do it.
And I guess the closest in a physical sense to that is like when we're playing Bristol this weekend. We're going to be driving back. Well, Chris is going to be driving back. We're going to be sat in the van afterwards, and we won't get back until probably 4 or 5 in the morning back to here, which means Sunday is going to be a write-off, and it's going to be you're all going to be tired, and it's all going to be. That is like, it would be easier for all of us to go like, oh no, we won't do that gig and we'll stay and have a nice weekend around or whatever. But sometimes it's one of them. Like I think that is the sort of sacrifice that you're sort of willing to make, is to go do that thing if you're into it. But that's as much as like, that's the pain for us, I guess, in the touring sense. Is that it can be a bit grueling at times. Sometimes there's not a lot of sleep. Sometimes it's rubbish food. Whatever it might be. It's but we push through it.
I was going to say, it's your own mental outlook as well. If you go like, oh god, that's awful, but then you go, but like put it into perspective, like the pleasure side of things is so much like further. If you've got pain and pleasure and you're slap bang in the middle of just neutral, pain is here, pleasure's all the way out here. Like if you think about what we do and how lucky we are to be able to do what we do, that's how I think about it anyway.
But it's like everything in life, like you have to work hard, and sometimes you don't want to do stuff, but like the outcome's amazing.
And like you won't know how high the highs are until you've experienced how low the lows are. So
that's it.
Yeah, sure.
As the Bronnie team, promise me one thing that you're gonna do for somebody when you walk out of here as a good deed. That hasn't got anything to do with you, or it's just for the sake of that person, as a good deed. And one thing that individually you want to do for yourself, or maybe even as a band. You want to do it for the band that you've been thinking about it for a while, but you haven't done it, postponed it, or whatever, for a while, for whatever reason.
I think whenever I go out, I always make a conscious effort to compliment people, especially if they've got really colourful hair. I'm like, I like your hair, because so many people go, oh, no one ever says that.
Yeah, compliment goes a long way.
This weekend, I think, is a big one. The compliments thing, that was where my brain went to straight away. We're playing a gig with... like we're headlining on like a festival bill, and like nothing is more like is better than another musician coming up to you and saying you're sick of your instrument. Like I loved the way you played, like that. Like I always I love it when people do that. So like for me, it'll probably be like something along the lines of that, being like going and telling someone that I thought they were so good. Obviously, they have to be good. Like, I'm not going to say it for the sake of it, but like
fair enough. Yeah.
But like, I think something like that. I think for me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's either complimenting or just being, I think again, like this one we're doing this weekend, it's a very DIY festival. We know the lads that have put it on. So anything that we can do to be helpful and throw ourselves around, we always try and like
get stuck in
is the right phrase for it. So I think helping out, making sure something runs smoothly, not because it necessarily better, we could show up and play our set and get off, but I love when when you're seeing people who, again, we know them personally, so they are friends as well, but it's like someone who's put together something good off their own back and they're working on it. I think anything you can do to help out and support people like that, I think is massive. So again, we're going to probably show up a little early. We'll end up helping throw stuff on stage. We'll end up taking stuff down at the end of the night, and that's always our aim.
Yeah.
I think to just be helpful and be about and make sure, especially if people are doing stuff for you, they've booked us on this. So it's like, how can we give back? Well, we'll be helpful. We'll make sure that we're about. We'll make sure that we, if they need anything, if they need to borrow any gear or if they need help getting stuff on and off stage, then we're there to do that. As for ourselves, I think the one for me is, I mentioned it before, but I want to get back into meditating again a bit more, because I always feel like my head's in a slightly better space and I end up more creative and more, I end up getting more excited about stuff that we've got coming up because my mind's less cluttered about other stuff. So you end up being like quite laser focused on what you're doing and therefore enjoying it more. So I think that would help. That would benefit all of us just from me being in a slightly better headspace.
Yeah, I think mine's quite similar. Mine is getting up at like 5 a.m. again. I always have this thing, especially in summer. I'll get up at 5 a.m., like get everything I need done by like 10 a.m., meditate, do all this, and I'm way more chill. I feel like I'm a better person, literally through going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, even though it's like the same as getting up later and going to bed later. Just get so much more done in the morning. And I've been like working out and all. I always feel 10 times better, so I need to.
You're like Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, really?
Have you not seen his like schedule? Have you seen this Mark Wahlberg's schedule?
No.
He goes to bed at like midnight and wakes up at like 1 a.m. So double that. And he has like
like all these naps.
And he has like naps throughout the day, and he's like, his schedule is hilarious. Go on Google. Anyone who's watching this, go on Google and look at Mark Wahlberg.
Is that guy who's trying to be young and stay young?
No. Mark Wahlberg, like, he's an actor. He was in like Ted. Like, he's a nutter. He's got like a burger chain in America now. It's great. But I've seen that guy. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. I'm just going to start running again. I like running. I'm quite good at it. So
running away from us.
Yeah, that's it.
Literally,
That'll be it.
Pete, Bronnie, Chris, it was a pleasure to have you guys. Thanks very much for coming. Guys, I'm going to put all the links to this social media down in the description. I'm going to put all the music to on all the platforms that they exist out there.
Yeah. Pretty much every platform.
Down in the description, make sure you go there, click on them, listen to their music, stream, follow them, and last words.
Live it, breathe it, work hard, enjoy it.
That's it. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it's the key there. I think, if you're someone who's just getting into it, just make the most of it. Don't worry about, obviously be conscious, try and think about what your next move is, but just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy
and as soon as you get your first hate comment, you're doing something good.
Yes.
Yeah. And you never won't know what you can't achieve before you don't achieve it.
That's it.
It's an absolute mess, but
I love that. Thanks, guys. Thanks
so much. This has been super fun.
This was our favourite ever interview.
Appreciate it. Thanks.